and welcome back to Green Eyed Starlet. If you are new here, hello, I am Brandy, and I'm trying to create a life worth living through art, movement, and exploration. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of self-employment. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then give this video a big thumbs up and keep watching. So if you've been watching my channel for the last month or so, you'll know that I recently quit my day job to pursue the adventurous lifestyle of someone self-employed, and boy, has it been an adventure. If you are new here, then I highly suggest that you check out my self-employment playlist. There you will find reasons why I left my job, some signs that maybe it's time for you to quit your job, as well as a few things you should know before you do decide to quit your job. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about 5 pros and 5 cons of self-employment for those of you who are thinking about going this route. Before we get into the pros and cons, let's define self-employed, because I feel like a lot of the times people leave out half of the definition. So here it is. Self-employed. Adjective. Working for oneself as a freelancer or the owner of a business rather than an employer. I think it is important to go over this definition because I think a lot of the times people forget the freelancer part of self-employed. You do not have to build your own business, create your own business, or anything like that to be self-employed. You can get a paycheck from someone else and still be self-employed. Now that that's defined, let's get into the pros and cons. Pro number 1, you get to build your dreams. When you're self-employed, you get to follow your dreams. You get to create your dreams. No one is telling you what you have to do, when you have to do it. You get to do whatever you want here. And I think that's a really big thing, because when you're working for someone else, a lot of the times you're helping build their dreams, which is very important. People need help building their own dreams. But when you become self-employed, it's time to work towards your dreams. And that's a really big pro for a lot of people. The first con is that all the responsibility becomes yours. When you're self-employed, especially when you're first becoming self-employed, you're not going to have a team. That means you have no one to blame when you don't meet your own deadline. You don't have anyone to blame when you're not out there advertising for yourself and creating and trying to network for yourself. It's all on you. And not everybody can handle that kind of pressure. The second pro to being self-employed is deciding when and where you work. That was one of the most attractive things to me when I was deciding whether or not to become self-employed, because I love to travel. I love to go explore the world, and I like the flexibility of creating my own schedule whenever I want. And you'll often find that a lot of self-employed people work from home, which saves things like gas and rental charges if you are going to be renting out an office for yourself. The second con is that it can be lonely, especially when you're your own boss, your own coworker, your own secretary. There are going to be multiple days where you don't even get out of the house or office, and that can take a toll on a lot of people, especially if in the past going to work was the only time you socialized. The third pro of being self-employed is that you are always learning and growing. When you become self-employed, like I said, you have to wear a lot of hats. You become the boss and the secretary and the bookkeeper and all of that, and a lot of us don't have that knowledge right off the bat. So we have to remember to keep learning. We have to take self-improvement classes. We have to look up a lot of things on the internet, and that's okay. It's adding to your skill set, and that can never be taken away from you. The third con is that you have to be extremely disciplined. There's no one looming over you anymore threatening to fire you or dock your pay if you don't meet your deadlines or your quotas. It's only you. So you have to be extremely disciplined and motivated. Even on the days that you don't feel motivated at all, you have to be able to force yourself and sit down, because there are multiple days that we have all not wanted to go into work, but we had to because we were scheduled and we needed that money. The fourth pro of being self-employed is that this is a great time to diversify your income streams. When you're self-employed, when you're a freelancer, you can take on a lot of different jobs. For me, I call it gig work. I can work with a lot of different companies in one week and make different paychecks from all of those places. It also allows you to create your own rates. So instead of coming to a 9-to-5 job where they tell you how much they're going to pay you hourly, you get to come in and be like, hi, my name is Brandy. This is what I offer you, and these are my rates. As someone who is self-employed, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, because if that does fail, unfortunately, you're going to have to scramble to pick everything up. But if you have, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 7 streams of income, you can rely on those other ones if one is not doing as well one month, or if one just crashes and burns completely. If you guys would like to learn a little bit more about income streams, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to make that video for you guys. The fourth con of being self-employed is that work does not always equal pay. So now that you're working for yourself, you can't exactly cut yourself a check for everything. And when you're just starting off, you might not even have the clients or the hours to get a paycheck, and you can't be discouraged by this. You should definitely not be considering quitting your job if you think you're going to be working less hours for more pay. Obviously, down the road, that is definitely the goal, and we all hope that, but when you're first starting out, you're going to be working more hours than you've ever worked in your entire life, and probably harder than you've ever worked in your entire lifetime, and there might not be any paycheck coming in, and you can't get discouraged by that. The fifth pro and the fifth con to being self-employed is taxes. Now, this I'm only going to scratch the very top of the surface of taxes because it is a very complicated thing when you're working a 9-to-5 and when you're self-employed, but I feel like especially when you're self-employed. But yes, actually taxes can be part of the pro of self-employment as well as the con to self-employment. Let me explain. As a pro, taxes can be a little bit different when you're self-employed, especially depending on what career path you're taking or what service you're offering. Right now I'm going to give you some examples that are for me. I obviously don't know examples for every career path you could possibly think of, but for things like yoga teacher, actress, and YouTubers, some things that you can start to write off on your taxes if and only if you were solely using them to make money is things like yoga clothes, yoga blocks, things that you use during a yoga class. You can write those things off on your taxes. For an actress, you need your headshots, you need your resumes printed, stuff like that. You can also write off on your taxes. And then things for like a YouTuber, if you buy a new camera specifically and solely for YouTube, that can be written off. If you're like a food channel and you're reviewing the food or something like that, you can write off that food to an extent. That can be a big pro because you're taking the things that you're using for your career, for your business, and you can write those things off even if they seem silly. You're using those specifically and you need those to make a living. So look into that. The con on the other side of this is also taxes, and that is that there is no employer anymore. No one is paying your federal withholding. And again, I know nothing except for very little that is applying to me, and I'm still learning so much. So do not take any of this at face value. Please look it up. But you're gonna have to start doing things like paying your own taxes. You have to sit there and figure out the percentage. No longer do you have an employer who's paying half of your taxes and you're paying the other half. You pay the whole lump sum now. So that could be really intimidating to a lot of people and really uncomfortable to a lot of people, especially if you're doing gig work or contracted work or freelance work. You get 1099s, and so a lot of the times they don't pay taxes right there. You get all of this money and it feels great. You're like, yes, money! But at the end of the year, you're going to have to pay taxes on that money. And it's a headache. Even me trying to talk about it right now, super headache. If you would like to know a little bit more about taxes, I will try to do a video on that, but again, not a tax consultant, not an accountant. I don't know anything about that, so I will try my best for you guys, but yeah. Okay, Mellow Sparrows, those were the 5 pros and the 5 cons of self-employment. If after watching this video you're still thinking about going the self-employment route, go you. I am all here for it. I believe in you. But just know that it's not all roses and rainbows, and anybody who tells you it is not either doing it right or just wants to see you fail or is probably trying to sell you something. And I'm not trying to sell you something. So if you guys have really been enjoying these videos, please leave me a comment down below letting me know. And if there's any other kind of videos you would like to see, also let me know in the comment box down below. Whether you would prefer the old comedy style or more self-help or more self-employment videos or just some kind of feel-good yoga-y videos, let me know. I'm still trying to figure this all out. I really love you guys, and I want to be creating content that is not only helpful and useful to you guys, but that you also enjoy. So please, please, please leave me some feedback down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give it a big thumbs up as always, and hit that subscribe button if you're not already. I post videos every Saturday, and you don't really want to miss one, because like, you just don't. I love you guys so, so incredibly much. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and I will see you next Saturday.